How's it going, Skullbrains? Welcome to another episode of Skullbrain TV, and in this episode, we begin the Ancestral Challenge for book number 10. But first, how did you go with the Ancestral Challenge for book number 9? Were you able to find Shumi and Shubi? They were here on page 141, trying to escape the flames. And how did you go with finding the fragment of the Evil One's mask? This one was pretty tough, but it was here on page 136 and 137, hidden at the base of this plant. Tricky stuff. Now, how did you go with the Monsters and Magic Challenge? If you guessed that the living death traps were based on the Tree of Poisons, you were correct. Now, were you able to guess which life force pod that Richard and his companions recovered from Enlil's dungeon? The clue was here on page 139. Richard plunged his hands into the acid juices to save the little creature. They had found the pod of goodness. Okay, let's get into the challenge for book number 10. In this episode, we're going to be looking for Shumi and Shubi again, and we're also going to be looking for elements and letters that form a spell that help our heroes save the day. So in total, you'll be looking for 8 letters and also 4 of the elements. As for the Monsters and Magic Challenge, have a listen to these stories and see if you can guess who the villain is based on. Starting off with the Rats of Hamelin. And this story is from Germany. On failing to keep a promise. For as long as time itself, people have feared rats. Rats hide inside houses and slip unseen through walls and passages, spreading dirt and disease. Indeed, long ago it was rats that carried the Black Death all over Europe. The mountain town of Hamelin once became so infested with rats that the councillors offered a reward to anyone who could get rid of the rodents. A stranger came to town playing a merry tune on a thin silver pipe. He offered to do the job. He started playing a fast tune, and rats appeared from every house. In their thousands they followed the piper down to the river. As the tune got even faster, the rats jumped into the river and drowned. When the piper claimed his reward, the councillors refused to pay him. What could a poor piper do to them? The stranger picked up his silver pipe and started to play a wonderful new tune. As he made his way through town, children rushed out to hear him. They followed him as he climbed up the mountain. They were with him when the mountain opened, and they stayed with him inside after the mountain closed. The children were never seen again, and the people of Hamelin did rue the day when they failed to keep their promise. So keep your promises. Next up, we have Morgan Le Fay, and she is from Britain. On magic arts and enchantments. Evil is the magic worked by Morgan Le Fay, the enchantress and half-sister of King Arthur. All about her is veiled in mystery. Some whisper that she is one of the 3 fates who preside over the destinies of men. Others that she is a fairy queen who dwells in a magic castle under a mist-shrouded lake. 2 things are certain. Morgan Le Fay is a mistress of illusion and deceit, and she bore King Arthur ill will. For many years she plotted the king's demise and the end of his famed court at Camelot. Once Morgan Le Fay captured Lancelot, one of Arthur's bravest knights. Lancelot escaped, but Morgan Le Fay sent a witch to ensnare him, and snarling giants to fight him to the death. Nothing earthly could have saved the brave knight. Lancelot closed his eyes and said a fervent prayer. Then he bore his bright sword aloft. The weapon shone like a cross, and his foes vanished. They had been no more than visions, conjured up by the enchantress. Morgan Le Fay tried many times to destroy her half-brother. Many times she was thwarted. And although Camelot did come to an end, Morgan Le Fay did not triumph. Arthur lives on in Avalon, and he will come back to save Britain, should the country need him again. And now this time we have one more Monsters and Magic card, and this one is the Banshee, and she is from Ireland. On a spirit that warns of death. So keen and sad is the cry of the ghostly Banshee, that it will turn your blood to ice. This unearthly woman stands tall and thin, wrapped in a loose cloak, her long red hair streaming to the ground. Anguish burns in her careworn, tear-swollen eyes, and her skin is as pale as the winter moonlight. It is said that only well-established families are visited by the Banshee. Her presence is dreaded, for whenever she appears, a death is sure to follow. The Banshee comes at night. She stands near the house where a life is about to be lost. Should anyone pass by her, the Banshee points towards the afflicted house with her bony hand, shrieking and screaming in despair. She will even guide the unfortunate visitor to the house, hovering smoothly over the ground, letting out heart-rending wails and clapping her hands. The Banshee is not the only omen of impending death. Another ghastly harbinger sometimes precedes her. In the dead of night, the inhabitants of the house hear the clatter of hooves and the squeaking of wheels. If they look outside, they see a coffin on top of a long, black carriage. The ghostly horses that draw the coach are far removed from the world of the living. They have been beheaded. And those are the Monsters and Magic cards for the next issue. So, see how you go. In the pinned comment below, you'll find a link where you can download the cards that I've just read, as well as a link to download the folder that you can cut out of Morbane's book of Magic and Monsters to keep the cards in. In this issue, there were no letter tokens to collect, but stay tuned, there will be more. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and ring that little bell icon to be notified when the next episode is released. And, as always, thank you for watching, stay tuned, and don't forget, stay skullbrained.